is Korean, and this is a test stream because, well, I saw this function. I'm like, wow, well, let's just give it a go. But my background is a little bit not where I want it to be. Okay, it should be somewhere in the middle of the screen, I think is a bit better. Oh, that's a lot better. So, today I'm going to be answering the internet's questions about video games and gaming and things like that. So let's go into the first question, right? Like without further ado, right? So I'm taking some of these questions from Quora, but if you have other questions, let me know down in the chat and I will do my best to answer them. So the first question, what are some of the best games for Android? So I don't think we've ever actually done a video about this. Adam is an Android gamer. I think Antoine is an iPhone gamer like me, and I used to be Android for like a very, very long time. But basically, if you're looking for really good Android games, right, and you've got the money, I would just do a simple Google search for like what are the best paid Android games. But basically, they would be some of the games that you're very familiar with. Like, I want to say The Witcher, but it's not The Witcher. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I just Google that and sort of figure out from there, from the list, right, what are the best paid games. Then when it comes to free games, you always, you're dealing with the energy mechanic, right? Or whatever mechanic these games have where, they want you to buy in-game currency, or, they want you to buy heroes, or it's some kind of gacha mechanic like Genshin or Dragon Heroes, Silent Age, or there's the other very familiar sort of gaming, like those hero games, right? Like basically where you're getting heroes, you're unlocking heroes, and that's how they're earning money, right? So, but I'd figure out, like, as a middle-aged gamer, as somebody who doesn't play a lot of time, right? So this is definitely for you guys. It's, you can play those games and you probably don't need to spend money, right? If you're playing an hour a day, if this is your game, right? So if you're like me, right, who struggles to sit in front of a computer, especially because I'm working in front of a computer 8, 9, 10 hours a day. And then mobile gaming sometimes works. Like my younger brother, he plays Call of Duty mobile. He's played other games on mobile. Adam plays a bunch of games on mobile as well. And it's, it works for certain people, right? I'm not a big mobile gamer. I tried Dragon here, Silent Ages, whatever that game is. You guys have probably seen all the adverts, right? It has like a bunch of D&D characters in there, and that was cool. It was fun, but I didn't find the game worth it myself. But anyway, so summarize the question, right? What are some of the best games for Android? I don't know anything offhand specifically, but I would definitely Google them, separate them by paid and unpaid. Usually the top 10 in any app store would do you well. Give those a go. And let's go on to the next question. What are the best laptops for gaming? So what are the best laptops for gaming? Generally speaking here, if you're looking for a gaming laptop, you're looking for something, again, this comes down to preferences, right? Like I have a 13-inch MacBook M1, and that plays a fair number of games, and it works, right? But at the same time, generally speaking, like I wouldn't say real, like gamers, right? You guys want a 17 or like a 15-inch laptop and above. You generally want a mid-range graphics card and up in your gaming laptop. So a mid-range graphics card would be like a 4060 for NVIDIA. It would be like an RX 7600 or so for AMD, and you're looking to spend for a gaming laptop, a decent gaming laptop anyway, probably $1,000 and up, right? And on the top end, you're probably about $5,000. So as far as recommendations going, Razer makes really good gaming laptops. Dell, Asus, MSI, pretty much all your top tier hardware providers make good gaming laptops. So I would definitely suggest one of those. And let's go to the next question. What is the best video game of all time for you and why? So the best video game for me of all time and why would be, the first thing, like as I was reading the question, I thought of the original Command & Conquer, which is like one of the formative gaming memories I had growing up. Which was, I remember my mom, my dad took us, my younger brothers and I, for our first international travel ever. And we went to the UK, and we went to Virgin Media or Virgin Gaming or Virgin. It's probably not Virgin Galactic. Um, and I got to buy something, and I bought Command and Conquer. And I remember when I came back to South Africa, and I played it in the morning, and it was my first time seeing FMV, and FMV is a full motion video. This is the 90s, man. That was like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's like real life, and the gaming was so cool, and you felt attached to the story. And you're like, oh, I played the Gnat, brother of Gnat. I'm like, I'm gonna smash all the good guys. And it was a really, really fun game. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, that's the best game for me. It was just like the game that I felt like impacted me seriously at that point in my life, right? And what life lessons does Game of Thrones teach us? I do not like Game of Thrones, which could be sacrosanct for a lot of people. I'm not a big violence person. I don't mind violence in video games, but even then, I don't play a lot of violent video games anymore. So yeah, you'd have to ask somebody else who's watched that. Like I watched Game of Thrones season 1 a little bit, and it was all right, but I just didn't like it. All right, the next question is, what are some of the best computer games of all time? Oh, that's really easy. Of course, the Zelda games, even though I tried Zelda Breath of the Wild and I did not like it. The King's Quest games are the really good old classic games. My older brother played that. Civilization games, right? Like, again, there are some good ones, some bad ones. Again, you'd probably give them all a try. I loved all of those games. What else would be a really good recommendation? The rally games, Colin McRae rallies, those are good. Need for Speed games are great. Grand Theft Auto games, of course, live service games like Grand Theft Auto did really well. There's so many like good, I wouldn't say generational games. They're like good franchises that are really, really good. I mean, they're a franchise because the first one did well, the second one did well, and as each game did better, they iterated and iterated and iterated, and it became better. Okay, and let's go down. What life lessons have video games taught you? I like this question. So I would probably say tenacity is like the first thing that came to mind. Like, and funnily enough, I'm like thinking of all the bad guys in like video games, right? Where they're like, okay, I failed the first time and the second time and the third time and the fourth time. I'm gonna keep going and going. And I think that's a good life lesson because life is difficult and life is hard. And one thing that video games have taught me is that you need to keep going, you need to keep trying, you need to keep fighting for the things that you want out of your life. What else has video games taught me? I would say appreciation of art and color and design, and especially later in life, I do like those artistic games. So like I played a game, like a 2-hour or 3-hour game by this Taiwanese studio. And it was basically like a find a hidden object game and solve puzzles, and was absolutely beautiful. And it just made me appreciate art a lot more, and just like the small moments in life, right? So next question is, my 18-year-old son continues to play video games even after I smashed his laptop and deleted his Steam account. How can I permanently put an end to his gaming? Okay, that is a very good question, because I know as a former / current teacher, gaming is a thing as a parent you have to sort of handle in your kids. And I will go back to what my parents told me, or how my parents handled. They basically said Monday to Friday, no gaming. And Saturday and Sunday, you can game for like an hour or 30 minutes. I don't remember exactly. And I thought that was not a good rule, because when I moved to the States and I was been living on my own, especially in my early 20s, man, like I just gamed like crazy because I'm like, I'm free, I get to do whatever I want. And I gamed 2 hours, 3 hours a day. It was pretty damn terrible. So I think letting your kids do their gaming, but also continuously remind them of their responsibilities, and punish them when they don't do the things that they're not supposed to do, like not doing their homework. Then you stop the gaming, right? So they realize that, like, if I want to game as a kid, right, I need to follow the rules, I need to do my homework, I need to do well on my quizzes, I need to go to church on Sunday, whatever it is, right? Set the rules, but don't restrict them from doing the things that they want to do. Go out with their friends, watch TV, play computer games, because that does have a knockback effect when the kids are older or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, to answer that question, right, like, yeah, it just doesn't even go for gaming, like anything. If your kids are doing something that you don't like or you don't want, and you want them to stop, right? There's no, the more you tell them to stop, the more they're going to do it. That is the adolescent mind right there. You have to incentivize them to do the things you want to do, and that's something I've learned as a teacher. And you also have to incentivize them to not do the things you don't want them to do. All right, anyway, let's move on to the next question. What are some mind-blowing facts about Game of Thrones? Again, this is the wrong question for me. I don't watch Game of Thrones. All right, what is the best PC game? Like, I mean, PC games have been around for like ages. How do you choose the best? But I guess I would go with the original Civilization 1, or just, I guess more generically, the Civilization series by Sid Meier. That is a turn-based strategy game that I think really started me on gaming. I guess there's another game, Rogue, as well, but I think Civilization really got me into gaming. And I think, to me, if I had to choose like a best game, it would be Civilization 1, even though that's a game that's almost 40 years, no, yeah, like 30 years old by right now. All right, what are the best examples of people who have gamed the system? Okay, that is definitely not a gaming question. What is the best gaming PC? Okay, so I'm very biased. The best gaming PC, ladies and gentlemen, is the PC you build yourself. Simple, easy, nothing more to be said than that, right? That being said, right, if you are an older gamer, if you are someone who's tired, who's busy, who doesn't have a lot of time, right, buying a gaming PC is not a bad thing. You can go ahead, go to Origin PC, go to, in the western half of the world, not even the western half, like most countries have stores which do give you pre-built PCs. That being said, here in Taiwan, I find they're a little bit overpriced. You also have stores, right, where you can go and buy the components. Like, you can ask your technical family member or friend and be like, hey, I want to build a gaming PC. Can you suggest some components? And they will do that. You can take that to a store, like especially here in Taiwan. I'm not sure about Western countries. You can say, these are the components I want for my gaming PC, build it. And here in Taiwan, they'll build it for you. It'll have like a 30-day warranty on it, something along that line. And if you have issues, right, you can take it back. Within that 30 days, they will fix it, diagnose the problem. After the 30 days, it's actually relatively affordable as well. That is one option. I don't know if they do that in other countries. Other options would be for, like, what is the best gaming PC? Again, anything by Razer, I think, is pretty much guaranteed to be good, but expensive. Anything by Dell is also pretty good as well. Dell is good. Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, Taiwanese gaming manufacturers, they make good PCs. So those would also get my recommendations. Go to PCPartPicker.com is another good choice. And I would go, they have pre-built like models, like high range, mid range, low range. You can click one of those. They'll give you a suggestion. They'll give you a suggestion of price. Unfortunately, for like an international audience, this doesn't really suitable for you guys, because most of those prices are American dollars, and some of the stuff is not available on Amazon, because like here in Taiwan, we do get Amazon, and I do buy PC components from Amazon, shipping them to Taiwan. But there's still a lot of stuff, like when you go to PC Part Picker, that you just can't buy. So yeah, just go to your store. I would price out each component and then see what is the extra, like the margin of the extra that the gaming store is charging you, or the store is charging you to build that gaming PC or sell you that gaming PC, and decide if you want to buy the PC or you want to build the PC. All right, and this is all. Is playing video games a waste of time? Oh, that is a great question. I know I have friends who have kids. Again, I'm 41, turning 42. And is gaming a waste of time? I don't think so, right? Like, this is the favorite thing I love to do with my free time. It is the number one thing I love to do. And I found it relaxing and fun, and it has nurtured my creativity, exposed me to so many different things, and especially later in life, like with card games, right? Like online collectible card games like Hearthstone, Marvel Snap, Magic the Gathering. I've played so many in the last probably like 5, 6, or 7 years. This has really changed the way I think, right? Like, one of the things I struggled with as a young man was the ability to sort of think in steps like, okay, someone is doing this, then I need to do that, and then that, and to think like 3 or 4 or 5 steps ahead of somebody or something, right? And that's a useful skill when it comes to work. And sorry, my nose is supremely itching at the moment. So gaming it's not a waste of time. I think it works for a lot of people. It teaches you a lot of things. It allows you to deal with a lot of things as well. And let's keep going with gaming questions. How did game developers pack entire games into so little memory 25 years ago? I think, like, when I think back to games of yesteryear, I remember games being like 10 megabytes and 20 megabytes and less than that. And I think it just comes down to textures, right? It comes down to optimization. What can you fit in a JPEG, or not really a JPEG, but like how much data you can put inside another piece of data, something like that, right? How to earn money online by playing games? Okay, that is a good question. So one of the ways to earn money online by playing games is just being a live game streamer. So Adam, one of the guys from Middle Age Gaming, he streams online. He's the only streamer. Antoine and I used to stream as well. And theoretically speaking, if we got to 50 Twitch streams, you'd be able to earn some ad revenue from Twitch. But again, that is a very, very small amount. You could theoretically earn money from playing online games by playing games online, streaming it, making those games into videos, and then, doing the typical YouTube thing, which is like merchandise, which is like Amazon affiliate links, things like that, which would allow you to earn money by playing games online. So like being a strict streamer these days is very, very difficult because, what you're looking for, right? You need to create a community. And again, not like I'm super successful at streaming, not like we as Middle Age Gaming are successful at streaming. But from all the research I've done, and I watched a lot of videos, I've listened to a lot of videos, that streaming is about building a community, right? It's about building people who like you for who you are, who want to come and see you, want to listen to your stories, who like your facial expressions and your jokes and things like that, right? You're building a community. Ideally, you want some people in that community to support you on Patreon, to give you a Twitch Prime sub, to donate money to you, right? And that's how you sort of earn money online streaming games. There are also sponsorships and things like that. So those are the options. But generally speaking, the steps to earning money while playing games online would be to build a community and maintain that community and grow it and, have multiple streams of revenue so that you're not strictly relying on AdSense, because at the end of the day, right, gaming is incredibly competitive when it comes to ad revenue. It's something, I think the CPMs are like $2 to $3, right, per 1,000 impressions on YouTube. And YouTube is the highest payer for games. Streaming online, I should say, for ads on gaming these days. So you want to have multiple streams, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. You don't want to be like only on Twitch and then going back to the news or like earlier this year of Twitch saying, okay, we're pulling out of Korea. And now Korean streamers are done, right? They don't know where they're going to earn money from. The other competitive streaming platforms in Korea or native platforms don't pay as much. So you always want multiple streams of revenue if you're going to stream games online. All right, what site is the best for downloading free PC games? So there is no best site. There are a bunch of sites, right? I would say the best regular site that you can check on a weekly basis is the Epic Game Store. Some people have a problem with the store because they are supported by Tencent, which is a big Chinese gaming company, and so privacy, your info, that sort of stuff. You decide what you want to do with that. But you go there, you're likely to get 3 games free a week, something along that line. So 3 games free a week times 52 weeks, that's 150 free games a year. That's something definitely to keep into mind. I think it's more like 1 free game a week. So at least you're going to get 50 free games a year. Steam does free games every now and then. There's a site called 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦, which does free games. There's a bunch of games on GOG.com. So there's a lot of free games available online if you are a low budget gamer, if you don't have a lot of money for games. You just have to Google them, but definitely hit the Epic Store, hit Steam, hit GOG.com, hit 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦, and you'll find a bunch of free games. You'll find lots of free demos on a lot of places as well that you can give a try. And yeah, all right, what is the best online game site? Okay, what is the best games? We've answered this question already. What are the best and most addicting Android games? What is the most memorable game? What is the best gaming mouse? Okay, let's talk about that. So the best gaming mouse, it just depends, right? So I want to talk about this because this is something I've struggled with, is I have a big hand, right? Like I'm 5'8", 5'9". My hands are pretty big. I'm a big size guy. I'm about 90 kilograms or so, about 200 pounds. So if you have a big hand, you want a big mouse, because at the end of the day, right, you want your entire hand or the mouse to support your entire hand, especially number one, as a middle-aged gamer, if you're working in front of your computer all day, right, you want a mouse that's going to support your hand and lift your wrist up so you don't get like reddish wrist like I sometimes have if I'm using a mouse for a long time. So that's what you want, right? So you have to think, you want a mouse that's going to support your hand. And then you have to decide, are you okay with a heavy mouse or a light mouse? I prefer a heavy mouse just because it gives you more control, right? It's like the idea of a gasoline motorcycle or electric motorcycle, right? So I like a heavy mouse. And then as far as brands go, if you're looking for a gaming mouse, you're looking at Razer, HyperX, Logitech, and the high-end mouses. A gaming mouse will set you back $50 and up. Generally speaking, there are loads of cheap Chinese options on Amazon. But Kingston, HyperX makes good stuff. That is the gaming mouse I'm using at the moment. I will say one thing when it comes to like a gaming mouse or a mouse is I go through them like one mouse a year because the left click breaks all the time, because a lot of games have that function where you're holding down the left click to shoot or do something like that. So you need to look for us, like if you're somebody who has strong hands, a strong finger, you want to make sure that your mouse is going to survive the punishment that you're going to give to it, right? The same thing that goes with a keyboard as well. That's that, and let's have a look at Reddit to see what questions we have. So, what video game starts off way too slow? There are lots of games which start off way too slow. I think some games have this really like extensive tutorial system. I'm playing a game called 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦, which is a really famous Japanese RPG. I like it. I like the art. I like the style. It runs absolutely smoothly on the Nintendo Switch. But oh my God, I must have put in like 3, 4, 5 hours into the game already, and I'm still doing like, it's still unlocking like new things or new explanations for me to say, hey, like this is this system, this is this system. I think that's not great. I can't think of any other games, but generally speaking, if you take an hour to explain the mechanics of your game to the audience, that is way too slow for most people. What's a game you love but never heard anyone mention anywhere unless you looked it up? Okay. So a game I loved that I've never heard anyone mention. Oh God, there's like so many of them. Like I love the original Command & Conquer, which I think when it came out, it was not super famous and not many people love. And even 30 years later, I've not heard people talk about it that much and be like, oh my God, Korean, did you ever play Command & Conquer in 1995? And I'm like, yeah, I did. It was one of my favorite games of all time. Okay, the greatest quit game screen ever. Again, my memory is pretty bad, but there are some really good ones. Borderlands, the Borderlands series has some good quit screens. There's some games where like Doom has some good quit screens, like You Coward or something like that, right? Let's see what else has. As I'm getting older, I tend to play more games in easy mode. Yes, I 100% agree with that. If you're a middle-aged gamer and you're playing games in easy mode and you've had the thing where you're worried about like, oh my God, I'm so worried about this, or I feel ashamed of playing games in easy mode, you shouldn't be, because you're old, right? Why should you play games on a difficult mode? You only have an hour to play a game. And this is something I argue on the weekly podcast, right? When we're talking about stories, is that I want games to respect my 1 hour of gaming time. I don't want games to be like, oh, you need challenge and stuff. I don't want no challenge. I want to feel like I've done something. I've killed the enemy. I've gotten these superpowers. I've accomplished these tasks, grown these crops, like cut fruit from a tree. Right? I want to do stuff in games because I feel like in regular life, like accomplishing tasks is pretty damn difficult, let me tell you right there. Another comment Reddit, Crisis was truly ahead of its time, 100%. I remember seeing Crisis, maybe was it in the States or was it in when I was a kid? It was looking like, I still remember like armor up or armor on was the saying, right? And you were like super strong as like a soldier and then like an armor suit and stuff, and it was like maximum speed. I was like, that's what it was like maximum armor, maximum speed in Crisis. And just like that saying was like cool. And then when your suit became this AI system in later Crisis games, like that was freaking awesome. I wish they'd made a Crisis 4 because that game was just really, really impressive. What video game character organization had the worst plan ever and clearly didn't think it through when making it? I mean, generally speaking, like bad guys in games generally have the worst plans ever. Like they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this bad thing and nobody's gonna stop me and I think it's gonna work. And like that, why would you think that would work? Like that's just silly. Like why would you like disrupt all the people in the world? Like it's you, this one big bad guy, sure, against like 100, 200, thousands of heroes and soldiers and that sort of stuff. Like that's just stupid. And what's a game that no matter how old, you'll still always come back to? I don't have any lifelong games like that. I would say for Adam would be Final Fantasy. He would definitely come back to that no matter how old he is. I think a genre will be something like that for me. I will always come back to card games, no matter how much, even though I never really played them growing up, especially digital card games. But yeah, no, I think like playing Marvel Snap, playing Hearthstone, that I won't come back to Hearthstone. I'll definitely come back to Marvel Snap or other similar games to it. I have loads of freaking card games on my Switch, on my phone, on my iPad, on my desktop computer that I will definitely come back to or come back to that genre forever. The XCOM games, the real released ones, 1 and 2, those games were fun and awesome. And whenever a new game comes out, I'll definitely come back to that series and play it and buy it and pre-order it because it was exciting and fun. I have no regrets about that. All right, what other questions do we have? What's a game you loved despite it being considered bad for legit reasons? No. Like this game, they suggest a Cyberpunk over here. Quantum Break is a good suggestion. I remember playing that on Xbox Game Pass. I thought it was a fun game. I liked it. It was really good, really enjoyable. There was a game based on a comic book where you were like this guy and then your buddies died and they became parts of you. Like one became your backpack, one became your gun. And that game was like, the reviews were not great, but I thought that game was super fun. What's another game that I can think of that I liked? The Dungeon Hunter, Dungeon series games, Dungeon Runner. I don't remember those games. Those games were fun. Which game has the best example of moral ambiguity? Just because my brother was a big fan of The Witcher 3, I would have to say that game. Like there are definitely choices that you make. You're damned if you do, or you're damned if you don't. That's definitely an example of gray areas. Otherwise, like generally speaking, I'm not a fan of games where there's a gray area. I like to be things are good or things are bad. You know, as bad as that sounds, right? Those are kind of the games that I like. And yeah, it's Happy Mario Day, so don't forget to check out Mario sales on Amazon. I have enough Nintendo Switch games, so I'm not going to buy anything, but I did see some stuff today when I was out and about thinking about Mario Day. Okay, let's do a last question for today. Have you ever had a super hard game that you beat as a kid and now as an adult you can't comprehend just how difficult it is? There's a bunch of franchises that I feel like as a kid I played them like, okay, this game is doable. And now as an adult, I'm like, how the hell did I actually do this? I finished every freaking Civilization until the most recent one. And the most recent one, I've just never been able to finish it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to this game. I'm going to play it. I'm going to finish it. I still have not finished that. And that broke my streak of finishing every single Civilization game. So I think there's a bunch of games, right? There's a bunch of games that you play as a kid that now as an adult you don't want to do or you don't feel like it. I was talking to my friend Hans, and we were talking about like Trine. We played all the Trines, and then Trine 5 was just the one that broke the camel's back, right? So yeah, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's test live stream. I just forgot how difficult it is to talk for 30 minutes because I have not done this in a while, especially continuously talk and answer questions online. But let me know what you think. I might cut some of this into short videos, but I'm going to try and do this once a week, just depending on how audience goes. Just because the last time I did this with another app called Wisdom, it was incredibly fun. It was just audio, right? And people came in and people asked questions and people talked and that sort of stuff. So it was enjoyable. And I think this progress of today's live stream is looking like that. So if you're watching this later, my name is 𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥𝙤. I'm one of the hosts of the Middle Age Gaming Podcast. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for next week when I go live again and answer more of the internet's gaming questions. Thank you guys and talk to you later. Bye.